Since 2009, Daniel Defense is known for making high quality ARs, bolt guns, PDWs, PCCs, and now new for 2024, their very first handgun. This is the Daniel H9. Now, every manufacturer talks their firearms up and kind of makes them out to be the best thing ever, since sliced bread. But I really want to look at that claim today because, again, Daniel Defense is known for making super high quality firearms. And now, with their latest entry into the pistol market, and again, making that same kind of claim as far as taking some of the best features from other guns and incorporating their own features, I want to look at all of that stuff and then answer a pretty simple question at the end of this video. Did they actually revolutionize the striker fire gun, or is this simply just another copy in a already crowded market? We're going to look at that stuff here today. And of course, if you like what I do, consider subscribing. You could also join us on Patreon or join the channel right here and never leave YouTube. Gain access to some pretty cool perks. Let's go ahead and get into it. First thing I want to talk about, what you get out of the box. It's going to come with a hard case, instruction manual, sticker, all that good stuff, lock, and then of course the gun and 3 magazines. Pretty straightforward. One thing they are offering anybody that buys these guns, according to some of the literature I got with the pistol, is 1 free plate. So depending upon the optic you're running, that would be the plate that you would then, get from them. Or if you need multiple plates or whatever the case may be, I think most people would probably just get 1 plate. So it doesn't come with them. But again, if you buy one of these guns, they're offering 1 for free. So let's walk around the pistol and look at some of the features. When we take a look at the front of the muzzle here, you have slight beveling right there to aid in holstering. We have a Picatinny rail. Pretty standard, of course. The design of the slide and the lower, it looks really good. Aesthetically, it is pleasing, and that's one thing that I don't even think Daniel Defense really shies away from. They want their guns to obviously perform well, and they're innovative and always pushing the limit and the bars in certain areas, at least in the rifle lineup, but also just aesthetically pleasing as well. And I think overall, when you look at the gun, it kind of gives me a what was the name of that gun? What was the name of that gun there, Ruger? What was the name of the gun, Ruger? What was that? Go get him. Go get him. And so, yeah, it is a pretty attractive handgun. 7075 T6 aluminum lower, cold hammer forged barrel. Again, Daniel Defense is known for that. And we're sitting at 29 ounces unloaded. We'll come back to that here in a minute. We have somewhat of a Glock style takedown notches in the front of the trigger guard there. They're not in a traditional spot though where you would expect a Glock to be. So essentially we're going to make sure we're clear, pull the trigger, pull back on the slide, 1/4 of an inch or so, and boom, there you go. So not too bad, of course, just like every other striker fire gun. Super easy to take down, which is what you would expect. One interesting little thing they have on the captive recoil spring here is actually a little ledge with a notch that mates up right under the barrel lug there. So you can get that in the correct position and orientation. Very simple. Beefy style rails, striker fired. So there we go. Yeah, not too bad. Plenty of room in the trigger guard as well for a gloved finger. The trigger is one of those things I definitely will come back to here in a second. We have ambidextrous controls, so slide stop, and then you can reverse your magazine release and G10 style grips. Now the back strap, it's 2-piece back strap. You have the upper and the lower. It is non-replaceable or anything like that, but of course you can drive this pin out if you need to change this back spring. They actually have something about that in the owner's manual. So of course it's serviceable in that way, but you can't change the back strap and kind of customize it to your liking. You could change these grips out though. Again, they're G10 style with a little cutout there for your thumbs. And overall the gun feels pretty good in the hand. It actually feels really good in the hand, to be quite honest with you. It's got a really natural point of aim, and so I look forward to actually shooting this gun. It takes P320 sights up top, by the way, so pretty common there. We of course can run any kind of optic that we want to, pretty much, they have a wide range of optics, and when you buy one of these guns, they will send you one plate for free. So you just kind of choose the plate you want, reach out to them, they'll send you a plate. So that's pretty cool. Optics Ready is something it has to have, right? In 2024, every manufacturer has Optics Ready handguns. Serrated up at the top here, and overall a pretty sexy handgun, I must say. It looks really good. It's kind of on the heavier end though. So I don't know that these guys are trying to compete so much with Glock, which is typically what manufacturers that come out with a striker fire gun are trying to do, but this is taking design elements from the 1911 and kind of combining that with striker fire guns. So, I would imagine if this gun does well, at some point they would do a polymer version of this and lighten it up, because again, you have some pretty significant weight there. And when we look at this gun compared to a Glock or a Smith & Wesson, Glock 19, which is what most companies are going to aim to try to, kind of take a portion out of that market. It's going to be a little bit longer, about the same height, which is good. Roughly the same width, maybe a little skinnier on the Daniel Defense, but it's going to be 6-7 ounces heavier. By the way, P320 Smith & Wesson, just standard M&P, it's going to be about the same. I did want to look at the X Macro as well. It's a 17 round carry gun. A little bit longer on the X Macro and a little bit shorter. So pretty interesting the size that they went with. And hey, maybe, they mentioned 1911 a lot. 1911 style trigger, right? Grip angle, all that. Maybe they were going for more of a modern style striker fired 1911 replacement. I don't know. that's pretty far-fetched, actually. Just kind of throwing it out there, but it's just bigger than most of your striker fire guns, and it is heavier. Bigger meaning longer, which isn't necessarily too much of an issue, to be quite honest with you. I think it'll be more so the weight. All in all, I think this is it's a really nice gun. Now, pricing is $1,300, which is not cheap, and I don't know if that's too surprising to anybody either. You're talking about the same company that, $2,000 ARs is not uncommon, and their guns are high quality, and so this is my first Daniel Defense, actually, which is funny enough. Their very first pistol is my first Daniel Defense. And even though I've handled some of the rifles in gun shops and stuff, and they are smooth, nice rifles, I've always kind of looked at them like, if I'm going to spend $2,000 on that gun, I would go with something like the Bren 2 or even the MCX Spear, just something a little bit different. But that's just kind of, I don't know. Anyways, all that to say, these things are not cheap. And so this whole conversation could obviously change once I get to the range. But just telling you what I see, I don't know that this is going to be taking a big hit out of the Glock and Smith & Wesson real estate market, if you will, just because of the additional weight. Now they have a nice cutout here, not necessarily an undercut, but it is a nice relief cut there, so you can get your hand high up under and tucked under the trigger guard. And the trigger, I think, is one of the biggest things about this gun. It's odd, to say the least. So essentially you have that trigger blade, which kind of pulls from the top, but it's pretty much a non-issue because your finger is going to fall one place on this trigger. Now you instantly start to pull through the wall, and it kind of just stacks up, and then the striker drops. Reset. It's actually really good. It's very close. And it pulls through. It's not terrible. It's just heavier than what I was expecting, especially if you're going to emulate a 1911 style, which those guns are known for. Now, of course, most 1911s, or basically all 1911s, are hammer-fired guns. So striker-fired are typically going to be a little bit heavier. I just don't find that this trigger is like exceptional. But again, I'm just dry firing. I haven't shot this gun yet. But this is kind of a first look at Daniel Defense H9, or the Daniel H9. And I don't know that it's revolutionized anything, but I think they put some really nice and unique features on here. Definitely more so going towards, I hate to say this and kind of throwing this out there because I know 1911 guys will just kind of bury you over this stuff, and that's fine. You can say what you want because that's what we do here, but it's almost like an updated 1911. It's almost like they took it and they were like, okay, this is what we like about the 1911. This is what we like about striker fire guns, and they just put it all together. So it's a pretty interesting pistol, and their first pistol, they definitely took some chances here. We'll see how that translates on the range. Of course, I'd love to hear from y'all, man. What do you think about the Daniel H9? And of course, if you want to see the shooting part of this review and see how this thing actually does, make sure you subscribe with your notifications so you never miss a video from me. And of course, if you like what we do, consider subscribing, join us on Patreon, or join the channel right here. Big thanks to you guys. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.